Let's see what we've got going on here. We have some really sad tomato suckers that I clipped 2 days ago. Rooting hormone, stuck them in the dirt, and they're just not doing real well. They're pretty sad looking. Couple lemon and lime clippings. Yeah, they were a little bit small off of my small plants, which we'll go out and take a look at in a moment. But I figured I would try, and figured what does it matter, right? It's not going to hurt the plant, and if they root and they start to perk up, great. If not, oh well. Following one of the things that Lead Farmer 73 says he does is so he uses a clear cup. That way, once it gets further along, you can actually see if there's roots or not, instead of hoping, and then put in a dark cup so it thinks that it's actually in the ground. So I adapted that thought process and just got in a couple of bay leaf sticks, if you want to call it, and trying to do what I've done already with the only one that lived, and try a little different process. Keep them inside instead of putting them outside, and using the clear cups so I can see the roots. So we'll see what happens. And there's all the sad seedlings that are dying, and they are too small to put out in the 100-degree heat. Just going to throw this in here because I just finished harvested another box of tomatoes, and look at the size of these tomatoes. It's ridiculous. It's as big as a softball. I got like 3 or 4 of them that are monster size. And then some of them are starting to split because of the heat and everything, but overall, can't complain about the yield. So a canning I will be tomorrow. Little rosemary plants starting to do its thing. I've been keeping them watered. I've been watering once a day, so it was, I'm going to say it's only 100, but that's kind of funny to say only 100, but it's only 100 a day. You can see that the soil is still fairly moist. The cucumber that was kind of sad, and you can see the little broken leaf that was there, is actually starting to take off. It's doing pretty well. Can't complain. Again, just throwing stuff in dirt and my backyard experiments. These are dying off. I've just been kind of letting them do their thing. There is the green apple, which is here in the corner, is starting to grow and doing fairly well. I was hoping for some blossoms, which I see. I don't see any cucumbers yet. And there's one straggler here of the Diva that's still doing okay, but again, same issue. Once I clean these all out, I'll drop the soil a couple inches and we'll get some new plants in there. Snap peas and pea pods are hating life, but there is some growth and there are some flowers, and the new batch of beans are doing pretty well. I'm just trying to get them trained into the trellis, so they're not going all over the place. This actually doesn't look that good when you're looking through it, so if we go over top, so the tomatoes aren't doing too bad. The one a little closer here, not so great, but just throwing them in here, and if they grow, they grow. If not, no big deal. Have plenty of tomatoes. Corn's doing pretty well. Watermelon's not doing too hot. I think it's a combination of when it started, and it's not for lack of moisture, but it looks dry and looks like something's kind of attacking it, so we'll see what happens. A couple of these radishes, and the other ones are just, they're dying out. They didn't do well or didn't germinate, so much for those. I need to harvest onions. They've been drying out here a couple of weeks. Part of it's lazy, part of it's out of sight, out of mind, so hopefully they're all fine. I need to pick them up. I bought some little crate things at the dollar store so I can stack them inside. Strawberries are not producing any more berries, but I mean, there's a bud or two. We'll see, maybe it they'll get something after the heat dies off in a month or so, but there's lots of runners getting shot out all over the place. You can see a couple hanging up there. There's some that's dropped all the way down, and then there's a boatload on the other side, so I need to get another bucket over there. I either need to harvest these and repurpose the bucket, or I need to steal that bucket or tote down there and get it alongside here and get those going. So these pepper plants are doing pretty well. I mean, after the transplant shock and the heat that we've had, I mean, they look really healthy, nice and perky. And even the sad one, it's a little bit behind. It was a little runty and it was extra sad from the store. Can't complain, looks all right. Let it grow and we'll see what happens. I pulled out the raspberry bush and I took all of the soil out of there that had all of the fertilizer in there. That's actually hanging out here. And I put just plain old potting mix in there, and that's been, I don't know, 3-4 days. We're gonna give this another week, and if it doesn't perk up, I'm gonna call it dead or really sad. I know they're fairly resilient, so I may dig it up, stick it in a 5-gallon bucket, go get a brand new one. Again, no fertilizer in the soil, and see what happens. Lime tree is doing really well. The leaves are starting to perk up a little bit. You can even see a couple of buds starting, so that's good. And it's handling the transplant real well. I put just a little bit of the fruit and avocado tree fertilizer in there, and I've been keeping it fairly well watered. Excuse me, sorry about that. Then lemon tree's doing really well. It was a little bit hardier plant than this one was, but you know, we'll see what happens. A couple of new buds. And then the one lemon that came with it. So, I mean, overall, they're doing really well. Just I'm watering from the top. The self-wicking tubs are topped off in the bottom, so I'm just doing a little watering at the top, and I've got all the wood chips in, so hopefully that helps retain some of the moisture. The apple tree is looking good, but it's not producing any. I'm thinking about doing an air layer. Never done that before. Thinking about grabbing this lower branch and basically you peel off some bark and get past that cambium layer, however you pronounce it. And you take like a Ziploc bag full of really wet potting mix. You wrap it around and you zip tie it, so it creates a basically dirt mound around what you cut out, and then cover it with aluminum foil so it helps it so it doesn't dry out, and wait about a month or so, and then it should root. And then wherever you did the cut, you cut back here about 2 inches or so, or in this case I would probably just cut it off right here. That way you get a couple inches to put in the bottom of the bucket, and then you just transplant this whole thing into a bucket. So we'll see what happens. That's just kind of the thought process. So that's it for the outside stuff. Really the biggest thing is the lemon and the lime tree are doing well, and that's about it. Well, just real quick, this is why my video's late for today. Got up this morning and did 7 quarts of tomatoes, and just pulled out of the canner, hey look, there's a ping, 16 pints of chicken breast. So that gives me a total of 20 quarts of tomatoes off of my plants this year. Not too bad. I had one jar that the lid blew off of it and made a mess. I would have had 21, so can't really complain for that experiment. But anyways, that's what I've been doing today.